Hello and welcome to a new video. What you are seeing there are a couple of styles that I took photographs of on my many walks through County Kilkenny, Laois and so on. And if you're Irish, you might not think much of them, but I had a friend visiting from Germany and she had never seen a style in her life. We both don't know what the word is in German, but never mind that. So there are quite a few, and I'd say Ireland's probably the country of like a million styles, way more than ring forts. And the reason is that people try to keep cattle and other animals out of fields, out of graveyards especially. So you find them a lot around graveyards, in the walls of the graveyards, and they can indicate a mass path because usually to go to mass, people didn't always walk on the road. They might have gone across fields, and you often find more than one style in a graveyard wall. So that's very interesting. You also often find them in national schools in the country, squeezer styles mostly. If you think back, if you've gone to national school in the country, you might think back and you might remember them. And of course, they can be mapped on OpenStreetMap, and this video is about this. First of all, let's have a look at the different types of styles that you can map on OpenStreetMap. So there, for Ireland, I think there are basically only three: the step over, the squeezer, and the ladder. And the step over means that you step over it without squeezing, and it's usually can be one step like here, where it's kind of like a hurdle, and that's the wooden type. They usually look like this. They're quite modern, I think, and you find them on hiking trails. Then this like old-fashioned one, step over, they're made out of, like, they're in a wall, and they use horizontal slabs to create the steps, and they're usually 2 or 3, sometimes just 1. And then sometimes you can have this vertical slab at the top, so it's kind of a step over on top of a step over, but it's all just called a step over. And you get those in graveyard walls a lot, but not just there. And then the squeezer style it's vaguely V-shaped or Y-shaped, but they're very narrow at the bottom, and then they widen up at the top. So you can get them made out of stone, so you can add that material as well. Like this one, again, they're the ones that you used to have at national schools a lot, but also other places. And then the more modern ones are the wooden ones here. They also have like it's kind of a step, and I don't know if that's part of the construction or if it's not meant to be part of the barrier, it's just the way it's built, or maybe there's water gathering down here at the bottom, and that's why they have this raised kind of a beam or something like that. And the squeezer styles, sometimes locally, apparently in North England, are also called hipster styles, and that's not because they're used by hipsters, but probably, I think, because when you go through, you kind of have to turn your hip. That's just my explanation. And then I don't think we have rambler gates in Ireland. I've never seen any of those. They're like squeezer styles, but they have movable parts, so you can move them apart to get through, and then they self-close and you can lock the mechanism at the top, but I've never seen them. And then we have the ladder style, and they can come in wood like here, or in metal, which is down here. There's an example here, and they're quite common in Ireland along hiking trails as well. And with the ones that do have steps like this, like step over that has like 2 steps, and the ladder ones, you can also add the step count. So we'll go and start mapping some of them. And this is where it is. And so Johnstown is that way, northwest, and this style is in this little wall that I've just added a couple of minutes ago. And you add a node by just double clicking on the wall or the fence or whatever it is, and you might have to add the barrier fence or barrier wall first, because a style in the middle of nowhere doesn't really make a lot of sense. And so you add that node there, and then you either type in style here and it comes up, and I've just done one before, so it's already there, and then it gives you this menu here, and it asks you for the type. So this one is a squeezer style, so we can just type in squeezer here, or just SQ, and then squeezer comes up and you can choose it. And down here it adds style squeezer, or style equals squeezer. And if you're using Osmond, you have to remember a lot of those, so this is what you have to remember, the 3 types. And the material here is stone. And that's all you have to do. And then you can save that, added style, and I add the hashtag styles, and the source would be survey. And then I click upload and upload it. The second example is at Cullahill Church in County Laois, and it's over here in this wall. So I'll go in. And it's somewhere in this wall here. So I double click on the wall and make sure I only highlight the node, and then style already comes up because I already mapped one before. So I can click on that, and it is a step over style. It looks like this. And the material here is stone. So you can either use this menu here and just choose stone, or start typing in stone and then choose it. Or I could have just typed material stone down here. And the step count is 2. So it doesn't ask you that for the styles. It would if there was steps or something. Or it doesn't do that here. And you can also add the access. So bicycles are, for example, not allowed. Horses are not allowed. Motor vehicles are not allowed. Foot is allowed, but it's probably destination. So it's someone who lives there, or like a mass path if you're going to a church. They're probably not that used anymore. But if you were going to church on a mass path, then the access would be, the destination would be the church or the mass rock or whatever. And then it's destination. And that is that already. Added style, and source is survey or street level photos. And I'll upload that. And the last one I want to show you, it's the same type, it's such a beautiful example, I didn't want to keep it from you. So this is what it looks like. It's on a friend's farm, and it kind of leads into her garden, and it's here. So I double click again on the wall to create a node, or if I don't want to do that, I could also choose the point and then add the point here. Depends on your preferences. So that's that, and then I can click on style again, and it's also a step over. And the material is also stone, and there are also 2 steps. I think that's quite common to have 2 steps. I could add that there isn't a handrail. I'll do that. Handrail, no. And upload that. Sometimes I'm not sure, should I put survey as the source or local knowledge, because once you've surveyed it, you have the local knowledge. I don't know. So that's all of them added now, and you see it's here already. What you can also see, I don't know if you knew that, but if you go into the map layers here on the side, you get these 6 options: standard, 2 cycle ones, 2 public transport ones, and the humanitarian. And they don't all show the styles because they are important for cyclists, because if you're going on a trail and there is a squeezer style or a step over style, it's difficult to get your bike across, and that's the reason why there's a style. You're not supposed to take your bike or sometimes your horse. So on the cyclism, you can see it is displayed, and this is actually the center of your map that is on your screen is going to be in that preview. I don't know if everybody knows that. So if I move this around a bit, you see that it moves around in the preview as well. So it is on cyclism. It isn't on cycle map. I don't know why. It's not on the open transport ones, and it's not on the humanitarian. So they all have their different priorities and what they show on their map. That's why we do have different map styles, and there are way, way, way more. These are just the ones that are available on the OpenStreetMap.org website. I want to show you an example where there is a graveyard that has 3 styles in the wall, and it is in, can't remember what the townland is called, but it's where the Síle na Gaeilge that is in Rothaus is from. Something more. It's south of Callan. Let's see, it's this one here. Cullochmore. That's what it's called. So we have the graveyard is in the middle of a field, or maybe there are 2 fields, and people got access, like people living up to the north, they got access through this style, and people living down here got access through this, and so on. So because it's not, like sometimes you do get graveyards along a road and then people just walked in from the road, I suppose. But this one is in the middle of a field, so people needed to get access to it. And so there are 3 styles in this one here, in 3 directions. There's another one where I think I mapped more than 1 style. Let me see. It's near Thomastown in Kilcolum. It's a holy well as well. Thomastown here. So that's the graveyard here. So access now, and did I do a video about that? I can't remember. But it's a lovely walk down, and it's a really nice site. There are 3. So that the main access is either through this gate here, or there's a stile that leads directly into the church ruin. And then there's a path that's uphill. This way is uphill. And there's a stile here in this wall. And then there's another one over here. So, as I said, you get that a lot in graveyard walls, and because there used to be mass paths leading into the graveyard. And also in national schools. I haven't mapped a lot of those styles in national schools, but that's something for other people to do. So I hope you like this. I put an Overpass Turbo query in the video description so you can look up the different styles. I have them color coded, and you can see which ones do have their type mapped and which ones don't. And I don't think there's a regional distribution, maybe in the material, but that's really more to do with the age of the styles, because a lot of the newer ones are either made out of wood or out of metal on hiking trails, and the old ones are usually they're in walls, so they're made out of stone. Whatever material the barrier was, that's the material they use for the style as well. So I hope you found that interesting, and you're probably going to see them all over the place now, because that's what happens once you know something, you see it everywhere. The friend that lives out near Bennett Bridge walked a lot during lockdown because she had her 5K, and that's when she also collected all these lovely field names. And she says there are loads and loads and loads of styles that she never saw before. First of all, because probably she didn't walk as much, but it's just you have this heightened sensibility for them, and then you see them all over the place. And I hope you do that as well now. And if you like this video, please watch other videos of mine. And more importantly, go out and map stuff. And I think styles are a good way to start because they're fairly easy to do. And you can't do much damage. I mean, don't make them up just because you want to map styles. You have to go and map ground truth. But, if you take a child along, summer holidays are almost over. But it might be interesting to show them, in their local area. You won't get a lot of them in towns. You might get them in parks, but not as much as out in the country, obviously. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Slán!